Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today, my lovely guest today, is Jean Adrienne. She is the author of 6 books and 2 decks of metaphysical healing and activation cards. She's also the creator of InnerSpeak, which is a coaching tool for clearing karmic blocks from this lifetime, past lives, and ancestors to enable you to create the life and reality you desire and deserve. So this is my brief introduction. I also want to mention that one of the books that she wrote that we'll be discussing today, it's titled Conjunctio, The Soul's Journey and in Lessons Learned Along the Way. So this is the title of the book that we'll be discussing. But she had written so many books, done so many amazing things. The other titles are The Reality of Creation, Power Tools, Reframe Your World, Soul's Adventures, and also the Metaphysical Healing and Activation cards, Reconnecting Soul, and InnerSpeak cards. Gosh, you have done so much. I was on Amazon, like searching everything, the website, like that's incredible, incredibly beautiful and much needed too. So thank you so much, Jean, for
Thank
being
you.
you. So my first question, as I mentioned off record, is always the same, never left me. Who is Jean in this very moment? Who are you?
You know, that's a really interesting question, a challenging question.
Mm.
Um, and I guess, I would have to say that I'm the same today as I've been always. However, I'm not the same today as I've been always. Gene is a work in progress. And I'm constantly growing, working to raise my consciousness and viewing life from a higher platform on a moment by moment basis. So, I've for 76 years I've been on this track on
Yes.
this time around, and I think that life just keeps getting better, and I keep shifting, and yeah. So that's the big picture answer.
Right.
The actual small truth answer is that I'm Jean. I'm a unique reflection of God. And I am the only one of me in all the universes.
Right.
Nobody else can be me. And my goal in my life is to show that color, that vibration, that essence to the world so that other people can take what they want and leave the rest. I try to model the best possible version of Jean at any point in time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love the reflection of God. That caught my attention immediately. I read that, I think it was the introduction of your book, Conjunctio,
Mhm.
that says, you are a unique reflection of God, and so it is your beloved. If you are looking for a mere mortal, that is all you will find. Why would you ever want to settle for anything less than the divine? That really stopped me because it has been my own, the body mind here, complex journey trying to find peace, love, happiness out there. It was always the case in someone else, in activities, or you name circumstances, always looking outside until I realized that, wait a minute, everything's already here. I'm already what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there really that's needed to complement what the real me, the divine me. So, and when I say the real me, I think that's what you mean too, right, Jean, about the divine self. It's complete, it's infinite, it's already it. There's nothing to be added or be removed from. It's perfection. It's
It's
God.
eternal and it's everlasting. Yes.
Right. I
Yeah.
love the way you answered that. So Jean being something that never changed, but at the same time also changed. When it comes to the body, mind, of course, is always changing, but the real you never changes. And you see, I always say the real you because it feels more real to me, the divine self than the reflected self, meaning body mind, the one that I see in the mirror. That's not,
Mhm.
it's just a reflection. I can never really see the real me because it's happened in it. It's almost like the body mind's happening in that real me, so it can never really
Exactly.
be seen with the eyes, with the human eyes. Okay, seems like I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here with the topic of spirituality, going deeper into it. But before that, let me go back to simple questions. What is, as I mentioned before too, what is love to you as of this moment? How would you describe that idea?
And actually, my understanding of love shifted um, about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Not long ago.
I did a spiritual journey to Turkey. I actually went to Turkey with the purpose of being with people who do my work. There are a lot of them
Yeah.
in Turkey.
Yeah.
But I visited Konya, which I believe is a city of love. And there I came in contact with the soul of the poet Rumi.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm speechless. Love is indescribable.
Mm.
Love is beyond anything that we can comprehend. And it is. It fills us and it empties us at the same time. Wow. Rumi spoke to my heart there. Um, Rumi actually gave me a poem there,
Yeah.
and and allowed me to feel what love really feels like, because I'd never felt that in this lifetime. And if I never feel it again, I've gotten that just because of that. Would you like me to share the poem I received?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, Jean,
So
please. Yes.
when it came, I typed it into the notes on my phone.
Yeah.
This is what he said. I shelter you from storms. I wrap you in my arms of love. I have chosen you. Forever and in all dimensions, we are one. I'm in the wind and I embrace you. You shiver like the leaves on the trees as you feel my love. Let go and empty yourself into me. 1,000 years or only one moment, it matters not. You are timeless and ageless. Maybe that's a description of God.
Yes. Ageless, timeless, infinite, right?
And when I received that,
Yeah.
my heart burst wide open, because then I knew that I'd felt it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to get there when I wrote the book Conjunctio, because that's been my search, is for finding that love. But truly, like you said, it's nothing outside yourself.
Right. And this is a very profound, insightful, and much needed message, I feel, for all of us. I wouldn't say especially women. I almost wanted to say that. Or
Yeah.
maybe yes, right, Jane? Especially
Maybe
women.
it is. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Because I think women have always been the way showers
Yeah.
for the higher energy. I mean, since time immemorial, we have. So, yeah, maybe it is. And then we get to feel that, and then we get to hold that energy in our vessel, in our cauldron, and model that in the world.
Yes. Yeah. It really feels that way too. When it comes to the reality of two, in a sense of the reality of experience of the body, mind, bodies and minds here in this earth, in this reality, because I feel that there are so many too. We don't know, right? How many
Mm.
other realities are there? But when it comes to I would say, the ultimate reality, it's one, it's God. There's nothing but God.
Right.
I always go back to that for some reason. It's my mantra. That's how I have been training the mind body to see and interact with this reality. It's one, it's God, everything is one. So it has been an interesting challenge. How do you navigate this reality of experience, knowing that you are one with everything? There's no separation, really.
I'm still integrating that
Yeah.
because it's still very new. I mean, it threw me into a healing crisis, because my physical body had to figure out how to process that,
Yes.
you know. So I'm still working on it, but yeah, it's changed the way I speak to other people. It's changed the way I deal with my clients. It's changed the way I deal with my children and my grandchildren.
Yes.
It's changed my very breath.
Yes. 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 I can see that. I can feel that too. Yeah, it's clear to me. So let's talk about your book. Actually, before that, Jean, what inspired you? I know I have an idea because I've read about you, but talk for this interview. What inspired you to do what you do today and become this metaphysical writer, beautiful writer?
Yeah, well, sometimes you just get gobsmacked and,
Yes.
and it happens. And for me, I had an
Yes.
enlightenment experience in 2002 where I opened a channel. Before that, I was very successful in the high tech computer sales world. I did that for 30 years, made a lot of money, enjoyed it. Uh,
Yeah.
and then this came along, and literally, I was riding in my car. I heard a voice in the back seat tell me that I was done with everything I'd done up to that point in my life.
Mm.
And I started arguing with that voice because that's kind of what Jean does. I like to argue.
All
Uh,
of us. Yeah.
and I said, whoa, don't be taking away my livelihood unless you got something better for me.
Mm.
Silence. But I looked in the rearview mirror and there was nobody back there. So it kind of scared the daylights out of me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and that was the beginning of it. And I guess I would have to say that I'm a firstborn child. I mind well. And I think
Yeah.
most firstborn kids do. And so when that happened, I didn't question it. In fact, I didn't know anything about channeling. So I didn't have the wherewithal to say, well, excuse me, but who's talking in my head? You know,
Right.
I just listened and it felt like love. It kind of felt like the experience I had in Konya. Um, it was a precursor, we'll call it that. And so why would I not
Mm.
listen and do what it said? It just didn't make any sense to argue anymore. I was just like, okay. And I didn't really know what I was receiving, but at the end of about 3 months, I had amassed a book about this thick. It's 144 files of information. And each file has 36 pieces of information in it. And the very last thing that I was told was how to use it. I didn't really
Mm.
know what it was that was coming in. I mean, me do a healing thing? I sell computers and I do it really well. Yeah. I can sell
Yes.
ice cubes to Eskimos.
Yes.
And then what I guess I found was that it really wasn't my job to sell a healing modality. It was just my job
Mm.
to be it and to do it and just keep putting one foot in front of the next. And over time, what it's evolved into is sharing a message about love, about what is love and how can we stay in love. And then love equates to joy.
Yeah.
So how can I stay in my joy line 24/7? And once you start picking away the detritus, the things that pull us off of that
Mm.
joy line, then you can do it and you can be it. And you can then share it with other people because they see what you're doing and they go, oh, I want what she's got. Kind of
Right.
like that when Harry met Sally thing happened back in the day. I want to be happy all the time. And why wouldn't you?
Yes. So it's an interesting thing that I have met a lot of women, I talked to a lot of them here, and for some of them have come to realize what you realized, and they are very pragmatic, like scientific minded people. And they just kind of dropped everything and they took this, accepted this path of truth.
Mhm.
So that was not long ago. Or maybe it was, I'm not sure, 5, 10 years ago. So what's happening? Do you feel like there's something happening, shifting? I know you mentioned about the feminine and masculine energies, or something's happening at this time. So talk to me for a moment about that. Yeah, the feminine, I think that's what you mentioned, which I hear a lot, of course, because my own understandings is one, so I try to focus on one and not on the two. It's always seeing everything as God, one divine expression and not two, it's kind of not it's not common for me to even ask questions about when it comes to duality. But it is playful, isn't it? This idea that we are in female bodies and then male bodies, and then we come together and then we play. And then, I mean, it seems like that's the whole point anyway, is just to kind of be playful with this reality of two.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the divine feminine and masculine and how it
So,
works.
and again, in a big picture view,
Yeah.
we're at this point of the precession of the equinoxes. We've been in this out of balance situation for 26,000 years, and we're moving back into a place of balance, of not duality, but of unity. Um, and so it's a thing of timing for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
And it's all about, I think, changing mindsets and thoughts, because people who go to school and they learn mathematics and they go,
Yeah.
1 + 1 = 2. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
1 + 1 actually equals something that's greater than the sum of 1 and 1. It's a triangle kind of thing, and it's a higher vibration always. So, I mean, I've never really related to math. Since I was a little child, I've always struggled with that. The other side of my brain has always worked a lot better
Yeah.
than the left side of my brain. So, now, and when I began to realize, okay, well, it's really bigger than that linear thing.
Yeah.
It becomes nonlinear, and then it becomes quantum. And what's really interesting is that the quantum physicists today are beginning to figure it out.
Right.
And and I met a scientist when I was in Turkey. I was in a presentation there, and this guy was out in the audience, and he's a neuroscientist. And I was talking about DNA and information that I had received as the DNA reconnecting soul deck.
Yeah.
And he came and found me, and he said, I want to work with you because I want to figure out how we can stop this division of science versus spirituality. He said, this is crazy that we've gotten into this. And he said, I think you're onto something. I don't quite know what it is. And I said, well, yeah, you know what? I don't know what it is either. But yeah, I'm willing to do whatever's necessary to try to bridge that gap, because we got to get there.
I know that everything is universal intelligence anyway, but for some reason, we humans have believed to be something else. So I know the work you do with InnerSpeak, and you train and certified also InnerSpeak facilitators throughout the world, which is wonderful. Has everything to do with exactly that, isn't it? Limiting beliefs.
Yeah, limiting belief and fear. It's getting rid of fear, because fear is what kind of locks us into old paradigms that don't serve us anymore.
Yes.
And we think that we know better than God. And which is kind of crazy if you really think about that one, But the truth is that there is some sort of a divine plan. I don't know what it is. I'm not privy to it, but there's something that created this amazing world, either the flowers, the birds, the bees, whatever, that I couldn't figure out how to do that personally, but yet I still try. We all do. We think, I won't control this thing because if I don't control it, chaos might happen, or who knows? When the answer really is always surrender, let it go, and allow that universal intelligence or God or whatever you believe that to be. Let that guide every footstep. And when you do that, miracles happen.
Yes.
And you do stay in joy.
Yes.
Because fear will pull you off that direction in a skinny heartbeat.
Yes. So true. Well, that's another powerful message. And with that in mind, we talked briefly off record about the messages and the main topics for this episode, for this video interview. We talked about love and truth. So how this idea of surrender letting divine intelligence do its work through us. So how, at the same time, how do we find our own truth? Is there our own truth within that, that dance? Because it feels like there's no our own truth, but universal truth. Again, that's what it feels like. But talk to me for a moment about that.
So my thought on that one is that of my own self, I can't do anything.
Right.
But there's so much energy out there that's willing to help me if I'll allow it. I mean, I think that's the law of attraction and all these
Yeah.
universal laws that we study, or that we have been studying now ever since Rhonda Byrne put her book out there and made it into the public knowledge kind of thing. And, so if we sort of get out of our own way and do that surrender thing, then we open the door for so many greater possibilities. It's every time we try to define something, we put it in a box.
Yes.
And when you start trying to define God, as soon as you put God in a box, you'll see that God's actually outside here. So you got to make your box bigger. And as soon as you think you got that one, then outside here, and you got to make that box bigger, because you can't. It's the unknowable, the understandable, but all powerful. And so again, why would you not want to let go and allow that to move in and through you and to guide you into a way of joy?
Right. Right. And it has been always here. That energy, which we call God, never left us, is always here. Right. That's an interesting idea about the concept of God, right? Being something out there, or even in the body, Jean. It feels, I mean, it's this felt understanding that I am in God. We are. Everything is in God. There's nothing happening outside of God in the first place. And maybe that's why we can't really kind of describe, know, because it's not an object.
No.
We can only describe objects, right? We can
Yeah.
only things that the body, mind can relate to. But God is something that we are happening in it.
A long time ago, and I don't even know where I was taught this concept,
Yeah.
but somebody taught me that why God created souls was so that God could have a mirror reflection to see what it was. He was, she was,
Yeah. Yes.
and there's so many of them. It's almost like the concept of God being like a giant disco ball with thousands of little mirror tiles all over it, reflecting back into it. Oh, I am this. Oh, I am that. Oh, I am this flower. Oh, all of
Yeah.
that. And I think once I heard that, it made it a little bit easier for me to understand it.
Yes. You see, because we want to understand with the logical mind, right?
Oh, yeah.
The rational mind.
Totally.
We do want to understand that. It's fun trying to understand. And I have this, the system, it's a philosophical system from India, Advaita Vedanta, that's very logical in a way. It's very experiential. So it's not about belief system, faith, none of that. It's just going deeper into, this reality, just being here now and observing. And you will see that's so clear that whatever is here, it's that we call the I is the one that actually is, it's present to everything. It's not even watching, observing. It's this unconditioned presence that has been always here, the same. It never changes. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's always looking. But it's exactly what you said too. It's the only way we can know God in that sense. It would be its reflection is by looking at everything, because everything is God. Or everything is in God. I mean, this is just amazing. I'm surprised a lot of times, even that we have language to talk,
Right.
About this, because it's so outside of the thinking mind.
And the thing is, that I think there's a current author going around right now by the name of Paul Selig. And one of the things that I've learned from reading some of his books is that when we deny God in anything, we're denying God in everything.
Yes.
And I watched that, I observed that. And I had the occasion this past weekend to watch a situation that was a conflict situation where, two people were on other sides of a fence, Neither one of them's right, neither one of them's wrong, but they're both making each other miserable because they're denying the godness of the other one.
Right. So when you speak of belief systems, limiting beliefs, do you work on reprogramming them, replacing them initially? Or this is it feels like without belief systems, we can't really navigate this reality.
Yeah. And so the answer to that is kind of, sort of. Okay. So
Yes.
I don't really do any reprogramming, but what I
Yeah.
do is offer a person a chance to make a different choice. So what InnerSpeak does is it will take you to a place on the time spiral continuum where basically where two timelines crossed. A timeline from the past where you screwed something up, and the present moment where you're dealing with the fallout from the screw up.
Yes.
And when you get to
Yes.
that place, you have the ability to examine what all happened, the limiting belief, the what lack of forgiveness, of whatever it is, and make a different choice. But the choice has to be made when it was created. Maybe it was 10 minutes ago, maybe it was 10 lifetimes ago,
Mm,
maybe it was way down your ancestral thing and you're still carrying it in your DNA. It's got to be fixed where it was started. So it's not really about reprogramming because there's no work involved in it. It's a matter of just going to that place going, oh, well, here's a choice you made there. And how's that working for you?
right.
Let's make a
Right.
healthier choice. And so it's really fast.
Right.
Yeah, it takes a session with me takes about an hour, and usually the results are permanent.
Right. So you train people from all over the world. So I know the information is on your website, and I'll
Uh-huh.
have the link here.
Yeah.
And also, I love the website. When I went there, you say unhook yourself from what is blocking you. Unhook. So interesting that you use that word in a sense that we have been hooked by belief systems, believing something to be real and something that's not real to be real, as fear is, right?
Right.
That I find that fear to be an interesting concept too, even though I remember being afraid of the word fear. It's almost being afraid to be afraid. I
Mhm.
remember that being in that state. And you see, this is something that I had to examine, just stop to examine. Does fear really exist? What is fear? But was a concept in the mind, of course, was
It's
created.
just a belief
It's,
system.
yeah, coming from belief systems generated by trauma, experienced, of course, and negative ones.
One of the files in the 144 files, one of those files is fear.
Ah,
And there are 36 pieces of information in each of the files. It's 36 different things. When this comes up, it's 36 different things that you're dealing with. And so you muscle test and you find the one. And it's
yes,
usually never what you think you're afraid of.
yes,
It's usually, whoa, I wouldn't have guessed that one.
yes.
And but once you realize it, oh, fear of success? Really? Then you can
Yeah.
acknowledge it and you can go back and find where that happened, where it came from, and begin to unwind the stuff that's not real about it.
Is that for everyone? There's the system. It's a coaching system, you call it?
Yeah, I do because there's no other real way to describe it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's, because I don't want to call it a healing system because I don't do anything
Right.
to you. If I'm working with you, I tell you what needs to be done. I show you the framework that you can do it in, and I go, here you go.
Right.
You know, because I don't change anybody, so I don't want to call it a healing system, and that's why I call it a coaching system because I am really kind of giving you some ideas, and you can pick and choose if you want to do it or not. But I mean,
Yes.
why would you come to me and pay me $144 if you really didn't want to change?
Right. Right. I love that. So it's an invitation, yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like you said beautifully, to live the life, the reality you desire and deserve. I
Mhm.
love that. I That's in your bio.
But it is a process. I mean, this came into me in 2002. I'm still working on myself. I did a session on myself yesterday.
Wow.
You know, it never stops
Yeah.
because I'm constantly finding more things that are limiting me in some way, shape, or form.
Mm. And I wonder if this is at some point, because the body mind, they are limited, right? By nature. We
Yeah,
can't, the body will die. It's constantly kind of, let's say, losing its balance in a sense of health. Really, the immune system drops here and there. There's something always happening. So change is like this constant within the
yeah.
body mind. It's limited. So I'm wondering if this is not what you're trying to do, or I'm wondering if this is what you're trying to do, kind of find this unlimited kind of expression in the body mind, because I don't think that is really possible, right, Jean?
So I guess my belief about the body mind, as you call it, is a
Yeah.
bit different from others because, I mean, I think we'll all agree that we have a soul, right?
Yes.
I also believe that the body has a soul as well that never dies. The
Uh,
body is a nature spirit. It's of the earth, and it does physically go back to the earth,
oh yeah.
but that essence of it, which is the one that is the repository of the feelings, the emotions, the database, if you will, it doesn't die. The soul is just a beam of light, that unique reflection of
Mm.
God. But the body soul is the repository of all the experiences. And so every time we choose to incarnate, we hook back up and we go, okay, we're going to, another rodeo, here we go. Um,
Yes.
so,
Yes. Yeah.
uh, okay, am I going to be a man this time? No, maybe a woman better. Born in the deep South, fundamentalist religious stuff, just dysfunctional family. Yeah, let's do that one. That's going to be the best way to grow in this lifetime, And so we
Yeah.
pop in and it begins, and we don't remember all those decisions that we made until we do, and some of us did it earlier than others. Took me 50 some odd years to start really getting on my path, but yeah.
Yeah. My quest is there this place less place that we can just rest, the body, mind, just rest from that journey in a sense of rest, really rest. And I don't need to move on anymore because I'm already it. So I guess that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'm already
End of the
it. Even
oneness.
here in this body, it's already it. This is the end of the journey.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much that helps too, Jean, in the sense of hopefully it's not a belief system because I'm always reflecting, contemplating, and going deeper into it with my practices. But that's how I feel. And because that's my longing, really. Something here wants to find the truth, the ultimate truth, freedom. How do you see that, this idea of freedom? Do you ever end that journey, the soul's journey, as you call it? Does it ever end for you or in your vision?
I don't know. I wish I knew an answer to that. No,
Yeah.
but I will tell you that what I think is the case is that when we clear away enough of the stuff that is not freedom, the
Yeah.
fear stuff,
Yeah.
that maybe we don't have to come back here and do it again. Maybe. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
because to me, freedom is, I don't know. I think I've pretty much gotten there um, in this lifetime. I mean,
Yeah.
so much of the stuff that used to keep me from freedom um, doesn't do it anymore. And I'm able more and more and more to stay in that observation place, that witness place that's not judgmental, and
Right.
that I can just
Right.
look around and go, oh, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
And to
Yes.
me, that's moving towards freedom, where, if I desire something, I just think about it and pretty quickly it manifests for me because I'm not afraid of it. So maybe that's the case. And then maybe once I've enjoyed that enough, then I can just say, okay, fine. I love you, body, but I'm
Yeah.
ready to go back into the one. But I don't know. Maybe I have to write a book about that.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to read that. Yeah. And maybe go back when you say go back to, yeah, go back to oneness. But we never left it, right? We
Yeah.
never left that place. We're always there already. And that's what Vedanta really teaches. That's the fundamental message. You're already there. There's nothing to be done, nothing to be added. You're here already. That's it.
But so many people that I work with or have worked with over the years are
Yeah.
still angry at God because they
Yes.
said, "Why did you push me out? Why did you push me out of the oneness? I didn't ask for that. I didn't sign up for that." And so a lot of core anger issues
Yeah.
for many people go back to that. It's a fundamental existential crisis about not being
Yeah.
part of the one.
One with God. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You did say something that was, I think, in the beginning of the book. I'm not sure. You said much of what I have done and learned happened without my conscious involvement.
Mhm.
I have an observation here about a note, ego. So conscious involvement that you speak about, that surrender of just kind of being what you already are
Yeah.
without the belief system that you separate. As you said, some people are angry. You said because they still live in the psychological mind that
Mhm.
holds all that information, of course, of trauma and etc. So yes, is that the way you see it too, Jen? The ego being this the compartment of what we are not, basically.
I don't know about that, but I just know that, I know that the ego is a very necessary part of us. There are a lot of uh, people out there that will say we need to get rid of the ego. Well,
Yeah,
no, because the ego is part of that repository of information of all the things you've ever known and done. Um, so yeah, I don't know about that, but I do know
yeah,
that there have been times in my life where I've said, sometimes it's better just to be lucky than good because I've been in the right place at the right time. But then there's a whole philosophy about what is luck. Luck is
yeah.
preparation meeting opportunity. So maybe I was preparing myself and didn't realize it
Right.
all these times. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Hmm. Oh my God, Jean, this is I mean, I just would love to keep, having, and I do, having conversations like this. I have it all the time. That's what I really can't help it. I don't even know, it's a choice, less choice. It's just, I can't help it, but just love this.
Because you're bringing expanding outside the box to so
Yes.
many people, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Which again, and then that moves people into joy. It's so funny because I was on a trip this past weekend with my 10-year-old granddaughter. She knows everything. She knows everything. She even knows how to drive the car, believe it
Oh
or not,
my God.
you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And but by this locked in knowledge, she can end up making herself so unhappy
Yeah.
because she already knows it and she doesn't want to
Mm,
hear it. She doesn't want you to tell her what to do, that kind of thing. Whereas if you told her, don't step on that snake, it's going to bite you, that kind of thing, then she could avoid pain. It's again interesting to observe that with people because that's the ego.
yes.
A lot of times the soul of the body or the ego operates at the level of a small child,
Yes.
the inner child, if you will, and a lot of times it's just semantics that can make the difference. But if you can just say the word that allows that to shift just a little bit,
Mm.
sometimes only a micro thing, then you move back into joy.
Yeah, I was just and I wonder, when does this start? The ego, this idea, this fixed belief systems that we know everything, don't tell me what to do and all that. Because I remember when I was a child, very young, I don't know the age, but I remember seeing everything as one thing. I didn't know, I had no idea I had a body even. And I
Mhm.
remember just running around, getting myself just hitting a tree or something, not even realizing there was stuff in front of me and just not seeing the difference between things, people, they're all like this, almost like this playground, it was just really fun. And all of a sudden it changed.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember it changed. So I'm wondering if there's an age for that, because some children don't change. And I know they are born with this very let's say, this realization, this knowing of what they are, and it doesn't change. Those become monks, that probably has to do with karma too, right? The
Maybe,
path.
maybe. And part of it is physiological
Mm.
because there's a part of the brain that doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real, the limbic brain. And it really doesn't develop until a child is about 5 or 6 years old.
Ah,
And so this
yeah.
is where a lot of these inappropriate belief systems get set up, is because if a small child hears, sees, smells, tastes, or intuits, because today's kids are really intuitive, something that they can't process properly because their limbic brain isn't developed, then they file that away as a truth. And it might not
Yes.
be. It might have had nothing to do with them. And so yeah, that's one of the places that these belief systems really get built up, is
Right.
when we're too small to be able to understand. But the flip side of that is the world is a place of joy to that small child. Everything is awesome. It's like, wow, look at that butterfly, look at that rainbow,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we do tend to lose that when that part of the brain gets developed and kicks in. And the farther it gets kicked in, the more jaded we become.
Mm, yes. That's why you mentioned about the idea of the ego being integrated in a way, right? It has a purpose.
Yeah.
So it's kind of using both sides of the brain, per se, the feminine, the masculine. So it's interesting. It's kind of coming from duality to unit, to non-duality. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, it's dual but non-dual at the same time, and ultimately non-dual because it's one.
Yeah.
So how amazing this experience is an adventure for sure. So we didn't talk much about your book. We're almost at the end. Talk to me about the main purpose of writing Conjuntio. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
the
was
soul's
to
journey.
manifest a beloved partner for myself,
Yeah.
because that's what I'd been looking for. I had realized earlier on that every relationship that I'd ever had, the common denominator in why it didn't end up the way I wanted it to, was me. So I started working on me, and did a lot of counseling, coaching, you name it. I tried
Yeah.
a lot of different ways
Yeah.
to heal what was causing that inside me. And when I felt like I'd finally gotten to the place where I maybe could manifest a relationship, I thought, well, what better way to do this? But like, let's write down what you want, Jean. Let's tell a happy story here,
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. And it was like the house next door was on the market. So the hero in my book bought the house next door.
Mm,
We met at the
mm.
mailbox, and then we became friends. And then we start going through some more learning, because boy, the best way to learn is in a relationship, because it's going to bring all of your unloved stuff up,
Yes,
you know.
true.
Um, and but it's completely fiction. And people were writing me, well, why didn't you put pictures of your honeymoon on Facebook? I was like, what? Didn't you read the part of my book where it says this is entirely fiction?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm still, I still wait for him to ring the doorbell. But again, that's looking outside myself.
Yeah.
And that was the beautiful thing from this trip to Turkey, was that I was actually able to see that that level of love is right there 24/7.
Yes. Yes. That's in the end of the book. You say that I have hearts here around it. I have to say that. You say, what a journey this has been. At the end of the day, not only have I reunited with my beloved, but even more important, I have found my beloved inside me. So I have hearts around that because, yeah, that's the ultimate truth.
Yeah,
I have to say for myself too, although I'm married and all now, but I feel exactly that way. Like it's not there. It's not my husband. It's here. It's already here.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. What a lucky man he is to have a woman who's that complete inside herself.
Ah. That's interesting. Something else that I found out about you is that you read A Course in Miracles. That's a book that I have 2 copies in my house, or 3 copies here. For some reason, I have to have that book, and I didn't know why, because I'm a student of Vedanta. It's a Hindu. It's based on the Upanishads. It's very different, but there's something about Course in Miracles that's just the message. I just look forward, and I gave it to my husband, and he reads, every day he reads a little bit of a passage, and then we just kind of talk about it, although he's not fully in that realm of understanding of, that's already what he's trying to find. It means already in him. He doesn't have to find here. But talk to me for a moment about that. I know you said in the book, you say, I got this copy of A Course in Miracles in the divorce settlement. That, I think it was through your third partner.
The third husband, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had it for a long time. I slept with it behind my back, or in the head of my bed, but I never opened it because when I did open it, it looked really scary,
Yes.
and it triggered all kinds of fear. Like, what if I became complete in myself? Then I would just evaporate,
Mm,
or die,
mm,
or because I think that's the ultimate fear is if anything changes, I'm going to die.
yes.
you know? And so I had to allow the Course in Miracles to tear apart all my belief systems because that's really what it does. I did the workbook first, because that's the one that says, this is not what it appears to be. Nothing in this room is what it appears to be. And it
Mm,
starts with those very basic tenets of taking apart belief systems. And then I went back and read the Course and was like blown away.
yes. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you for saying yes to this adventure, to this depth, that you have gotten, and for all the work that you've been doing, Jean. It's truly beautiful. Thank you so much.
And thank you for everything you're doing in the world.
Yeah, thank you. So before we say goodbye, I do want to mention the services that you offer besides your books. They are available on your website and also on Amazon, but you also provide private sessions, coaching packages, and in-depth work. And you have your cards and packages on the shop tab on your website.
Mhm.
That's also besides of the training. I know you train and certified also professionals. That would be wonderful too for people who listen to this to get this work, this coaching that you offer and integrate therapists. I think they're always looking for that, lots of coaches and therapists. So thank you so much again. Your website is jeanadrienne.com. Will be at the end of this podcast, the podcast notes. So is there anything that you left unsaid for today's conversation, Jean? Anything that you wanted to end this conversation with?
Just, the most important thing that any of us can do is love. Love
Yes.
first ourselves and then everybody else.
Yes. A billion times that truth. Thank you again, and we'll talk soon. Take good care of yourself. Bye
Much
for now, Jane.
namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.